Hi, this is JP Morgan. We're in Hamina, Finland. We're gonna do street photography and just walk around. I'll show you how I find great composition, how I find light. It's my process. Anytime you can look into anyone's process, it's really beneficial to you, allow you to see how someone else works. I love seeing how other photographers work. So here's how I work doing street photography in this great little Finnish town. This town is only about 2 hours from St. Petersburg. It was built originally as a fort to be able to protect Sweden from Russia. So an incredible little town, great rich history. Let's just walk around and see the process as we take pictures here in Hamina, Finland. So I chose the 28 to 200 millimeter, not because it's the fastest lens. I chose it for 2 or 3 reasons. One is it's very compact. It's a 67 millimeter filter size on the front, which means it's lightweight and compact. It makes it a great companion with the mirrorless Sony cameras. But it has a very respectable aperture range. It's 2.8 when I'm on 28 millimeters, and it goes up to 5.6 when I'm on 200. Generally speaking, by the time I get to 200 on someone, I try to get in close enough that it gives me a nice out of focus background. It's just a really good all-around walk-around lens. I mean, it's really a combination of a 28 to 75, a 70 to 200. It's a combination of that whole range. You lose a stop or 2 stops on the upper end, which is what you give up to be able to have that compact form factor. But I think it's worth it because as a walk-around lens, it's super lightweight, super easy to carry with me, and I use it all the time. So there's the Tamron 28 to 200, 2.8, 5.6. I love this lens, just a kind of a street photography lens, but I love to shoot when I'm out and about, and I shoot all the time. But what I do here in this situation is I'm on 200 millimeters. I love these crosses. I'm gonna just pick up and do a shot here. It goes to 5.6. I'm gonna work on aperture priority. I'm just set at aperture priority. I'll set my aperture at 2.8 because I know when I go to 200 millimeters, I'll be at 5.6, and I wanna be as stopped down as possible. So at 5.6, I see the crosses up front look really nice there. Background falls out of focus really nicely. So I like this shot. When I'm on aperture priority, it's going to like 1250th of a second at 5.6, but I'm looking into the highlight side of the crosses. I'm looking into the bright side. The sun is very close to coming straight over my back, which means the light's probably about as flat as you're gonna get. I see a lot of light in the background. I'm gonna just move all the way around. I'm gonna come around here, and I'm gonna shoot into the shadow side of these crosses. But now I'm shooting into the shadow side. I'm shooting off here to the shadow side of the crosses. And it's a different look. Is it a better look? I don't know. It's a matter of opinion in a lot of ways. So there's 2 different looks of the same scene, just kind of looking at the light. It's always wide, tight, and interesting. I'm gonna get it really tight. Get a beautiful light across that plaque. So I'm showing up the detail of the wording. See what happens if I move over and shoot back into the highlight side. I don't see the highlight of the plaque near as well as when I move into this shadow side. Now look at that type, how the type really separates. Set the cross in the background in the right place. Let those 2 become compositionally upper right and left, and this down lower on the bottom gives us a nice triangle. Yeah, moving in that highlight side, look at the difference it does in the type on there, that raised metal type. It's really pretty. Love that background falling out of focus. Love the colors. Man, shooting into this shadow side I think is so pretty. Let's see how close we can get here. When I get close like this, I'm gonna go to a single point focus, so I can choose what exactly I want to be in focus. What would happen if I laid on the ground like this? Okay, look right there, you go. Ah, so awesome. This is awesome. So I love to take pictures of people, and especially when you can talk to them a little bit, kind of understand their story. This couple is awesome. The first thing I do light-wise, if I've got a couple like this, I don't want to turn them and have the bright sun in their face. I turn them with the sun behind them so I get a nice rim light in their hair. Then, because there's light out here to my right, it's going to bounce a little bit of light back in on their face. It's not the perfect lighting situation, but it's a really good lighting situation when you want to shoot something quick. So I just turned them, rim light behind, try to find a little edge in the shadow so that the rim light from behind isn't super harsh on their heads. Anyway, it was interesting to talk to them. They're heading to church this morning. It was fun to take their picture. But that lighting situation just works really nice to get a rim light from behind. It just makes for a quick portrait. I love doing that stuff. I just want to get some of the cobblestones here, maybe as low as I can possibly get. So I'm going to 28 millimeters so I get a wide look, but I get the cobblestones in the front. I'm shooting with this light sun towards me, so I'm getting shadows on each side of the cobblestones. You see how deep they are, which is really fun. So this is just a beautiful angle on this church for a couple of reasons. One, you get the highlight side on the square steeple, you get the shadow side. It's like everything in the world is a ball cube and a cylinder. So I love that highlight square, and then I get the beautiful clouds behind it. So I'm going to frame it several different ways. I'll frame it in just a full horizontal, maybe showing a little of the fence in the foreground. Then I'm going to go into a vertical and just show the spire. I'll push the spire to the right and up into the frame a little bit. Yep, I'm going to definitely always be working that rule of thirds. I want the spire and the building to push up on the right side, have the back come into the left side of the frame. It's really nice. I can see a lot of this fence, which is really pretty. Gives us a tree balancing with the steeple. It looks really good. Look at the steeple, it's like it's one-dimensional. I'm looking at one side, I'm looking into the shadow. It wasn't until we walked around and then I started to see dimension that in the steeple where I get a highlight side and a shadow side. I also cropped down lower to see the whole building. It looks much better. All right, pushing on. Sometimes I just love details, little things, like there's a leaf here on the stones. If I get the right composition to put it in the right place, that's when I really want to go to a single spot focus, so I can focus exactly where I want it to be, because I've got a pretty shallow depth of field and I want the leaf to be in focus. I was shooting some lines back there. I'm going to keep that leaf over in the side. I was shooting some horizontal lines on the cobblestones, and I shoot a shot where they're all horizontal. It looks terrible. I kind of Dutch the camera, get those lines in a Dutched angle across the frame, and it just looks so much more interesting. This tight shot of a bolt was really fun. I don't know, it's just fun to shoot details, look for interesting light, look for interesting objects. So I think it's really fun sometimes to just center and just make things very symmetrical. I've got the right and left window, I've got the drain pipe that comes straight down, I've got the middle of the building come straight down, but then I let the drain pipe come out at the bottom so it isn't totally symmetrical. I have a point that gives me a relief, that gives us a way to escape the composition that also brings us into the composition. Just interesting to make things symmetrical, but give yourself some design that allows it to bring the viewer into the symmetrical experience and gives it some interest. Plus I think the street signs are pretty cool. These dogs, they like to work, don't they? Energy? Yeah. Yeah, look right here, there. That's awesome. So this is the site of one of the oldest churches, well, the site of one of the oldest churches in Finland. And this building here was built in the 1920s. The original churches were built in the 1300s, but it's been burnt down several times and rebuilt. Last one was built in the 1920s. But I moved myself around again so I get that highlight and shadow side, so I get nice dimension on the two. Don't want to be strongly, nice to give one side a little more presence than the other, usually the front side. So you have a broader side, then a shorter side. And I just move myself around with those clouds in the background. I get the leading line of the road going up to it, looks really nice. It's the site of the oldest church in this part of Finland, so I'm going to take a few shots here. So I love this kind of view here because you get the road, you get a feature in the background, and let the streets just give you leading lines that lead you right up to the feature in the background. I've shot this all over, whether we were in Stockholm, in Helsinki. It's just these old buildings that give you a leading line into some kind of a feature. So when you line yourself up right, you can get a nice image. So there's some of those images. It's universal around the world. Don't let your dog poop on my lawn. I should start a collection of don't let your dog poop signs. I like it. I just love the windows. Like you say, it's like a view into their life. Or look at the old glass. Look how mottled the glass is in these windows. It's fascinating to me in Europe. I mean, we have a building that's 100 years old in the United States, and we lock it down and we don't let people, look at it except for on certain days. And here, a building that's 500 or 600, 700, 800 years old, and they all live in it still. Apartments, it's like common. So look at the mottled glass in there. It's so cool. I love how strong the texture is right now on that wall. You're seeing all of the texture because the sun is strong to my right and back. It gives us a texture on the wall. But I'm going to frame the window up with a little bit of the gray stone on the bottom so I have just a little bit of a base. So I can see the window. I'll push the window to the right so it's in a rule of thirds. Even that shadow on the right hand side is kind of pushing in towards the window, which is kind of interesting. If you're not sure if you like the view, just change it. Get lower, look up into the sky so you get the blue clouds behind it. Get higher so you look into the building, move out to the side. Just give yourself different angles. I mean, that sign was cool because it's cut out of metal. And it's just cool because I could look up high and I could see that light and I could look up into the clouds. I could frame it with the blue building behind it and move around to the other side and change the view completely. So just change your view. White, tight, and interesting. And most people want to get rid of the signage. I'm trying to work it into the images because I think it's so cool. So I'm going to go to a pretty deep depth of field. I'll go to like F11 so that I can get the sign, these two signs, and the steeple in focus. So I'm going to get really low. I'm putting this on single spot focus so I want to focus on the bricks in the foreground, but I'm at F14 so I can give myself a lot of depth of field. So I'm really low, but I've got a single point focus so I can get my focus back on the cobblestones. But I'm at F14, so I get a lot of depth of field. It's just an interesting perspective, so it's all about the cobblestones. Kind of adds strength to the building and where it sits. It's kind of a unique presentation. So I think that works out really nice. That's really cool. Just the texture, you get the lines of the items coming up. You get three of them that kind of fall in the rule of thirds. You have the lines coming down, the great texture of the paint, and I got the gray down in the back, down on the bottom. That gray gives me a beautiful foundation on the bottom. It's really pretty. This is what I've been looking for. I want the cobblestone, the old bicycle, the stucco wall, the door. I mean, all this stuff just has such a great look. I can feature the cobblestone in the foreground, look back into the bicycle. This is kind of cool the way it looks down the alley here too. Maybe I can give it some perspective, kind of perspective going down the alley. Maybe I'll get in tight, do something really wide here. No, I love this when I get really super low. I see the street, I see the bike. Maybe I'll try to do something flat where this bike is just flat against the wall. Just flat, and maybe I can even use that drain pipe up there to juxtaposition that drain pipe. Yeah, that's pretty cool. This is an awesome spot here. I'm just walking around the back alleys just looking for something interesting. Trying to get off the beaten path a little bit. I mean, sometimes there's some interesting things, nothing amazing. Do love the sign here, it's pretty cool. If I move back here, I can reflect it into that window. That's kind of interesting. I do love this 28 to 200. It just makes it so I can jump in and out. So this building wasn't very interesting to me until I walked around it. And then all of a sudden the light is more interesting over here. I see dimension in the building, it's not flat. I see the flags in the blue sky. I can do a Dutch angle here, so I see the flags up in one corner. They become a balance item with the building. And the flag's flowing right now, which is awesome. That's a nice little shot there. Just if things don't look right, just kind of walk around. Light changes everything. Light truly does change everything. Find the light, find the image. Okay, I'm looking, it's really nice with this 28 to 200 because I can get this whole building in a 28 millimeter, but I can do tight shots of the people walking by. It's really interesting that the architecture here is so different. This has a very more, it's not necessarily modern, 50s kind of look. Very, oh, I don't know, economically driven, not artistically driven. Maybe that's a nice way of saying it. But this lens sure makes it nice, so I can go in to do details, or I can do the whole building at 28 to 200. It's pretty amazing. This texture is pretty interesting. I use that one little pipe up in the rule of thirds, up in the higher end there, the right upper third, just to give myself something. So there's something that would balance it in there. So this is really cool, these repetitive arches here. I wish I had some kind of a payoff, like I wish there was a person standing here, or a bicycle, or something just to give me a little bit of a payoff. I'll move over, I can see down to the way far deep, the city hall way down there. Clouds are cool. Maybe I go into a horizontal shot, do a couple like that. That's nicer. I'm loving this lock here. I'm in really tight on it, so the last kind of becomes, it leads in and comes down to the lock. I see a little bit of spiderweb on the side, gives me a little bit of balance, kind of leading lines in from the left. Beautiful highlight on the silver of the lock. What a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. You can find great light when you're doing street photography in the sun, but you have to look for it. You want to get that sun behind and to the side. It's going to come across the face. It's going to light the face. You don't want it way behind. You don't want it right up here. You want it kind of from the behind to the side, and then you shoot into that shadow side and the light looks fabulous. This Sony a7R5 has an incredible dynamic range. It opens up those shadows. Of course, I'm shooting everything in RAW, so I can take it in, process it, open up those RAW images, and that makes a huge difference. I think if you're shooting street photography, you gotta shoot RAW, because that allows you to work with the images and to make them look better, because sometimes you're in very challenging lighting situations. So this has been a lot of fun, walking around in Hamina, Finland here. I learn a lot when I do this, because when I have to talk about what I'm thinking when I'm shooting, it kind of helps me understand the process a little better, helps me understand that I need to kind of, when I have to articulate it, it helps me to be more concentrated on it, and I think the imagery looks better. So I hope you enjoyed this. Check out some of these other lessons we've done. It'll help you understand street photography, some other lessons we've done in the past. That 28 to 200 millimeter lens, I think, is amazing. All right, there you have it. Keep those cameras rolling. Keep on clicking.